You need to have him on Fear End now. Oh yeah, Markiplier. I know. This is a goated collab. I didn't even know he was like that. I didn't know he was chill like that. That he would just like do podcasts like that. But yeah, I would love to have him on Fear End. I found out his mother is actually from DPRK, chat. It's crazy. I had no fucking idea. He did a whole documentary about it and shit. I would love to talk to him about that. That shit would go crazy. It would go crazy hard. Truncated domestic is the correct term for blind dots. He's probably not a fan. I don't think he knows who the fuck I am. I don't really know who the fuck he is either. I just, you know, he's like a big, like I followed him a while back. He's like a big video game guy, right? He plays video games. He has like a buttery voice. He is like an iconic OG YouTuber. I just be saying things for attention. I wasn't listening. He went through the worst of the YouTube era and beyond without becoming a creep. He's dope. Yeah. His friend Lord Minin mentioned you once on their podcast, albeit on accident. Wait, what the fuck? How did he accidentally mention me? But Northern Lion found an email from Markiplier asking how to become a YouTuber a while ago. Wait, what? That's crazy. He collabed with Ethan Nestor. They made a... Oh, shit. You got banned because you said Ethan, but the good Ethan. They invoked your name, my lord. No, he is pretty progressive. It's like him and Jacksepticeye are both like... Him and Jacksepticeye are both like OG YouTubers that have been around the block and haven't got that stink on them. You know what I mean? If you've been on YouTube since like 2008, you probably have said some like incredibly white supremacist shit at a certain point, right? And these guys, like him and Jacksepticeye, are like the two guys that I can think of that haven't done that, you know, as far as I know, or at least like they've never like groomed anybody. It's crazy to think that like there are people like that out there, you know, Ryan Higa, the Green Bros, right? Like there are definitely people like that, but I would say that Rhett and Link, I would say that like the bar is so low, you know what I mean? For all the top like big dogs from the early YouTube era, you know, how many of them came out as groomers? How many of them came out as like racists? You got two routes, racist, rapist, sometimes both. And then, you know, there's a unique group of content creators who are neither, and we celebrate them and we cherish them and we think they're amazing. Yeah. Just being semi-normal sets them apart. Yeah. You do need to have more fun guests on your podcast and eventually ask the guest questions. Every Fear episode with guests devolves into Hassan and Austin banter and they don't get a word in. Yo, I don't fuck with offliner chatters fucking thinking that they're backseat producing now my podcast too. Okay? It's crazy. This motherfucker's now backseat producing the podcast. Like, what are we doing here? You know? Do something useful, brother. Do something useful. Okay? How about you go and I don't know, fucking find like some cool ass content creators to collab with me. Okay? If you want to be a backseat producer, be a successful one, not an unsuccessful one, a silly one. I want more normal streamer friends on stream. I know. I just don't really know. Pedro Pascal is friends with my Tio. I can hook you up. That would be fantastic. His sister is a Hasanabi head, I'm pretty sure. So we got another route in there as well. But I always feel very weird, like reaching out to someone to be like, hey, can your brother come on the stream? You know what I mean? Like, that's weird. Yeah, Lux follows me. Can you unban Nikki Bigelow? Poop sock is sad. No. All right. Worst they will say is no. No. It's I feel like it undermines these people. You know what I mean? Like as though they have nothing to offer. And now I'm just like asking them for their, you know, famous brother. Like that's just weird. You feel me? I don't like that. But also I went fucking nutty mode. Look at this. 1 hour and 53 minutes workout time. Total calories burned 1,800. Active calories burned 1,500. I went crazy on it. Okay. I went nutty mode. I'd love Theo Vaughn on your podcast. I want to go on Theo Vaughn's podcast and I want to have Theo Vaughn on our podcast. I've worked on that before. I've tried to make inroads there. I have too many mutuals, but again, I just always feel, oh, he is? Have you talked about the fact that Moon Channel, the guy who made the Gotcha Games gender war videos you watched last night, is a Hasanabi head? Potentially, he shouts you out in this video at 27:30. Wait, what? Really? That makes me so happy because he makes incredible videos. I am a big fan now. I had not known about this channel beforehand.
It is okay if you play gotcha games on occasion. It is okay if your favorite man of the people Twitch streamer buys a gigantic house or a fancy car. It is okay if your favorite Hatsune Miku song is—
No way. Hey, yo, that's sick. Oh, that makes me so happy. This guy is awesome, dude. I apologize for disrespecting Moon Channel by thinking it was actually the other reactionary Moon. The anti-China xenophobic Moon Channel, the other one. That channel's just called Moon, I think. Moon Channel, on the other hand, Mr. Neo-Confucianism himself, Mr. Context. Damn, dude. It's weird. All the good YouTubers who put a lot of thought and effort into their almost academic paper level researched YouTube essays almost always happen to be, you know, the Hasanabi side of the things, and all of the worst drama pervert, Keemstar adjacent, orbiter, weirdo fucking losers who love hyping up pedophiles and Nazis. Those are the guys who always hate me for some reason, you know? What? Hasanabi fan cam, please. And funk edits, okay? We gotta do this? Like the fast-paced funk edits. We need it. Some of my best takes. This is too loud for me.
This is what it's about, okay? Fuck all the haters. Fuck all the naysayers. There's gonna be, in life, there's gonna be people that say, fuck you. You're wrong. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. As long as you know that your cause is just, keep pushing. And that's it.
Quote, anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism—
You can't put me fucking flexing with the funk edits, bro. That's... Some of you guys just genuinely don't understand how this works, okay? No, the funk edits are not for the girlies. It's for the guys. It's for the bros. Like, the bros are not gonna like me fucking showcasing my goddamn armpits, dude. That's for the gays and the girls.
has no place in the leftist movement. It has never had a space in the leftist movement. The leftist movement is first and foremost comprised of revolutionary Jews to begin with.
Okay, I'm
Chinese
not
material
okay.
conditions now, in comparison to 30, 40, 50 years ago, there is a dramatic improvement that is so obvious that it's got Americans feeling scared.
Have you seen this latest Bad Empanada video on this Turk versus moron? He made a fucking Willie Mac show. Slop YouTuber Willie Mac show made a video covering the Gaza genocide because he noticed that putting Hassan's name in the title gets him more views than usual. It went about as well as you'd expect. Oh, dude. Okay. Okay. Critical support the Bad Empanada has gone up by wide margins now. Okay. Oh, this is on the Bad Empanada live channel. He didn't put this on the normal channel. Oh, my Lord. Oh, dude. Bad Empanada went from bad to good empanada. Bad Empanada went from bad empanada to based empanada. No one admires gym muscles more than gym bros. Yeah, but this is like very for the female gaze and not for the male gaze type gym shit. I don't think you guys understand. I don't think you guys understand how this works, okay? Like, I wasn't doing this in particular to look hot or anything, but like this is the type of like content that looks this is for the female gaze. It's not for the male gaze. But it's all good. It's all good. Flexing is for the male gaze, not the male gaze. Yeah, I mean that too, but is this the new TikTok strat that attracts Zoomers into adopting better political beliefs? Yeah, I think my community is unfortunately too gay to and too you know, they're just too woke to make like funk edits. Like, just look at an Andrew Tate video and just copy paste it, honestly. Moon Channel addresses Hassan in the latest comment under his main video. Wait, what? Anyway, we'll get it. Yeah, the male gaze is like lifting, dunking. If you want to show me like looking cool, you gotta look at things that like dudes care about, not like me looking hot and sweaty and rubbing myself with oil.
Americans feeling scared.
China on top, China number one, Chinese food infinitely better. Fuck you. Yeah, this is not for, that's not for the girl, that's for the girly pops. It's not for the guys.
Conversation. So you said America deserved 9/11. Did you mean that?
Yeah.
But on there, she had a big day today. Chat, you need to use yesterday's stream rant about real men during the Sean video. Yeah, that would be good. That would be like a good one, I think. Yeah. If you're not happy, then make your own. Yeah, I mean, here, this is like great example. This is actually a good example of a funk style edit that's like popping, that's like in the right wing, you know, right wing. Okay, place, Koya, please. Yeah, this is a perfect example. All right, I got blast off after this. I haven't even fucking blasted off
Since
yet.
you've joined the stream, everyone's begging for you to leave. The vibe's down. It's boring. It's late at night for me. I came here to have fun. You're being boring. No one thinks you're cool. No one thinks you're intelligent. No one thinks you're funny.
I don't think I'm cool or intelligent. I just have questions and you're not answering them for some reason.
No, I don't
Why
have
are
to
we
answer
derailing?
I don't have to answer your questions. You're not the police. I don't have to answer your
No, not at all. No, I am not the UK police nor the Romanian one. It's like a better version of that, but it's like it's much simpler, I think. It's much simpler. Like it doesn't even need to go that hard. It doesn't even need to be like that. It's just like one rant that you think that I popped off on, like when I was calling someone like a pussy or something. Joe is right. I'm broke because of the trains barista 5 states away. Republicans love doing this thing. They will get you primed to be fucking angry at something so nonsensical that normal people should look at and go, the fuck? Why are you telling me this? I don't give a shit. Move on. It's usually something that is like indefensible for the record. And people get unimaginably invested. Like how many hours of debates have occurred over trans people in sport? That's why for me it was always like, why do you fucking care about this? You don't actually fucking care about this. Shut the fuck up. It's so dumb to like hyper focus on the shit. You're a fucking weird loser, okay? Who has been primed by other fucking weird losers deliberately trying to get you to hyper focus on this and be extremely invested in this because they don't want you to recognize who's actually robbing you fucking blind. That's pretty good. That was not bad. That's like a better example for sure. Dude, how do you get back to the earlier video that we
Hello,
used?
do I agree with every single
I don't know where the earlier video.
Joe is right.
Oh, here it is. This is it. I'll hide this with a repost real quick. Will there be sophisticated Korean live sim today? Yes. I got hella people on the fucking sim, by the way. Not even a meme. The Moon Channel comment. Found out about your channel through Hasan instant sub, great video. Oh, very neat. Please give my kindness regards to Hasan. I don't want Twitch or keep up with social media at all, but from what I've seen, he's frequently the most informed voice in the room, and I truly appreciate what he does. Oh, let's go, Moon Channel lovers. Unite! We got another one, boys. We got another one, boys and girls. Hasanabi universe is expanding in ways that we didn't even know existed. Go show some support to Moon Channel. Yeah, I got Ray on I got Ray on the 5 hearts under one roof meta. I will take credit for the Asmongold one too, but also Peter Park literally downloaded it on his freaking phone. Okay? He downloaded it on his goddamn phone while we were at the compound, dude. Like that's how, like I was talking about Grand's titties and he downloaded it while I was talking to him, like straight up to my face. And another thing, yeah, Peter exposed. That's number 1. Number 2, Daff also exposed. Doodoo Daff. I'm talking to Doodoo Daff, 39 Daff for those of you who don't know. Okay. And she was shocked that I actually like burned through Wukong and finished it. She literally could not believe it. She's like, oh, how many days did it take you to like beat the secret boss? I was like, it's not, it didn't take me that long. Like, no, but it wasn't like 2 full days of like trying to beat the boss. I feel like I probably spent a collective total of like 3 hours on the boss. You know what I mean? Like even the hardest boss in Wukong, she couldn't believe it, dude. Am I tripping? Isn't Moon like an extreme right-wing content creator? No, Moon Channel is a different creator. It's not Moon. It's not just Moon. It's Moon Channel. It's different. Hasanabi is a natural ARPG player. He was always slaying bosses in Elden Ring. Yeah, Wukong was so easy for me. I burned through that shit like it was nothing. You know what I mean? Watching YouTube essays, drama vids, React Lord is back. Okay, buddy, meme review. Okay, buddy, meme review. Korean dating sims and more. Get in now. We're doing a chill ass day, dude. Okay, it's Sunday Funday. We're doing a chill ass day. I don't want to hear from anybody that is gonna come in here and be like, excuse me, excuse me, Ermagerd, why are you doing this? Also, I stole this funny ass meme. I don't know who made it, but Someone send it to me. This shit is funny as fuck. Why are you taking credit for the toast trend? I mean, I didn't know he played it, but I got it from Arthur. Anyway, we'll do this. We'll start with this. Slop YouTuber covers genocide, fails to make a single argument.
New segment on the stream, which might never happen again, but I'm calling it a new segment. It's going to be called Slop Watch, where whenever a slop YouTuber steps out of their lane and talks about something serious, we fact check them. So we're going to fact check a slop YouTuber who usually talks about like Minecraft streamer drama, but decided to delve in to Israel-Palestine recently out of no reason aside from the fact that they hate Hassan. This is basically it. Like, these people.
Oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna do we need to talk about the Iron Mouse situation as well. Lorraine finds Quinn Blackwell on love on the button. Okay, we'll do that too. We'll do all that. The Macy's, you got some fire banger react videos lined up too.
People used to make drama videos about gaming YouTubers.
Oh yeah. Oh, speaking of which, by the way, congratulations to everybody that is cool, that is involved on this list. Okay, Stop Antisemitism. Stop Antisemitism has decided 2024 Anti-Semite of the Year top 10 finalists: Hassan Piker, Corey Bush, John Cusack, Greta Thunberg, and then actual anti-Semites like Jake Shields, Jackson Hinkle, and Candace Owens, and Dan Bilzerian. I don't know who Jess Natalie even is. And then you have, okay, another person who is not anti-Semitic, Bassem Youssef. So it's really funny when these fucking dumbasses openly showcase that they have no interest in like actually tackling real anti-Semitism, and they just want to dilute anti-Semitism and conflate it with anti-Zionism. I probably will end up winning this, by the way, which is really funny. But yeah, you didn't like my post? Oh, I thought I did. Sorry. What? He said some lib things that are anti-Semitic because he lacks materials analysis. No, there are people who have said like straightforwardly anti-Semitic things who also happen to be anti-Israel, okay, but from an anti-Semitic perspective. And then there are people like Greta Thunberg, okay, or people like Corey Bush, people like John Cusack, okay? You're fucking ridiculous. This Natalie is the so informed person on Instagram. Okay, I don't know who that is. But once again, notice how someone like Myron isn't on there. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of real anti-Semites that they could have put on that list with like some level of prominence. But it doesn't really matter because these people are fucking freaks, dude. The people that run this shit. Yeah, I mean, past year's winners, Rashida Tlaib won in 2023. Kanye West won in 2022. That was like a real anti-Semite for once, you know? Anuradha Mittal, the chair of the board of directors at Ben & Jerry's, won Anti-Semite of the Year. Nardine Kaswani, also Ilhan Omar. So I don't know about Nardine Kaswani, but I know Ilhan Omar is not an anti-Semite. And I suspect Anuradha Mittal is also not an anti-Semite as well. I mean, she works for the Jewish-owned brand of Ben and fucking Jerry's, who is very prominently BDS, pro-BDS, boycott, divestments, and sanctions. So I suspect they felt maybe a little embarrassed putting Ben and Jerry on there because they're Jewish. So they were like, let's find someone else. Let's find like a brown woman. And then, you know, that way we'll get to feel better. Also, I have noticed one particular through line here. A lot, just everyone's a person of color. Literally. I don't know how this happened, but that's like 1, 2, 3, 4 people that are not anti-Semitic and anti-Israel. One person that is anti-Semitic. Everyone's a person of color. And mostly brown women too, like black and brown women. What a remarkable coincidence. I'll be the first white man on that leaderboard, baby. Let's go. Put me up there, coach. Ooh, I'm in good company here. I'm about to do DEI to Anti-Semite of the Year. Put a white man in there for once, goddamn. A person going after real anti-Semitism wouldn't have this type of list, right? It's weird. Yeah, I mean, this is for the record a list that very clearly, like lists like this and Canary Mission, Like these guys very clearly, one, some of them straight up get grants from the Israeli Knesset. So that's like already weird. Okay. You're like a foreign lobby operation and you get to serially dox fucking American college campus activists and shit. Like, what the fuck are you doing? That's weird. How the fuck do we let that slide? That's number one. Number two, these operations are basically, Global Pop Star 2021 finalists were Ben and Jerry, and then Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Of course, two people on this list are not anti-Semitic and simply critical of Israel, okay? One person literally said Jewish space lasers exist and is responsible for wildfires. And the person who won it was the Ben and Jerry's person. So like, yeah, this is a completely fraudulent thing. It's got no motion. And not only does it have no motion, it's like very obviously, created by some fucking reactionary psychopathic freak that lives in like Long Island or something. It's like one crazy lady who runs this entire account and runs this entire thing. Canary Mission, I think, is like a lot more serious in terms of like its reach. And I believe it also gets like actual grants from the Israeli Knesset too. But yeah, the goal of Stop Anti-Semitism and other organizations like that is specifically to conflate real anti-Semites with people who are anti-Zionist to use, like, to have some semblance of legitimacy to add to the list by being like, see, we packaged up these people who have fought against anti-Semitism and all forms of bigotry, always, but they're also against the fascist state of Israel doing a genocide. And that is a crime almost as bad, if not worse, than actually being an out and about, anti-Semite. Oh, I'm livid. This is dangerous. I don't think it's as dangerous. I don't think this is as dangerous. This is not. Like, I think the ADL doing this kind of stuff is probably worse. Oh, Drew made a few months ago video. Oh, my goat. Okay, we'll look at that too. God, we have a lot of fucking fun stuff lined up today. But yeah, I just wanted to, I wanted to start the day by talking about like Stop Anti-Semitism is like the most low motion one out of all of these organizations. The ADL has like some semblance of institutional legitimacy, but I think they've really abused it over the course of the past couple of years to a certain degree, especially over the last year, where like they will get prominently displayed by Fox News, and they'll get like MSNBC slots every now and then. But overall, most people are not going to take them seriously. I mean, even Wikipedia decided that they were an unreliable orator. So yeah, it's most normal people, I think, and most intelligent people, most thoughtful people understand this. This might work. This only works for people who are just like already very invested in looking at any kind of anti-Israel sentiment, who are already like very primed into saying like anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. But it's got, the last year of just like lumping in anti-Zionism as anti-Semitic, anti-Zionism across the board being anti-Semitic has like really, I think, destroyed the credibility of a lot of these institutions that already didn't really have any credibility to begin, or shouldn't have had any credibility to begin with. So, but yeah, I said this list is a perfect demonstration of the unserious nature of these kinds of groups. There are progressives who are anti-Israel lumped in with anti-Semites who are anti-Israel. No one is buying this shit anymore. And I believe it. Like, who the fuck is going to look at this and be like, yeah, Greta Thunberg is a real fucking anti-Semite, and so is Cory Bush, and so is Hassan Piker. Maybe they might think I'm anti-Semitic, but like, when you lump me in with people like Cory Bush, John Cusack, and Greta Thunberg, they're like, you're kind of deflating the severity. You're kind of deflating the severity of the accusation. And Bassem Youssef, really suspicious. So yeah, people who aren't familiar with what anti-Semitism is or isn't will believe this. No. And the other side of the story that is like more damaging for at least like my Jewish community members and like Jews in the Western world specifically, the damaging side of this is that most people already have like some level of like underlying anti-Semitic tendencies. So when they see lists like this, it just makes them, I think, lean more in the direction of normalizing anti-Semites which I don't like and I don't appreciate, and I fucking hate this. So that's why I'm very frustrated with the likes of ADL, because I don't think it's like ridiculous to have an institution that specifically targets anti-Semitism. I think that's a very valid and honorable goal to have. But I think that it's disgusting and gross when you use real anti-Semitism as a way to as a way to just tar and feather anyone who is critical of Israel. Does that make sense? Because that's the overarching goal here. It's basically to just fucking, silence critics of Israel. And it's not working because everyone can see what the fuck is going on. You know what I mean? And every single time people just tie any sort of criticism of Israel to Judaism, and then say, oh, you're criticizing Israel because you're anti-Semitic, and then try to package that by looking at actually anti-Semitic people who are also critical of Israel because they're anti-Semitic. Most people are not going to look at that and say, especially right-wingers and stuff, or apolitical people are not going to look at that and say like, oh, wow, I really misunderstood this. I really now think Hassan is an anti-Semite. No, they're going to look at that and be like, Hassan is based just like Dan Bilzerian. Okay? That's what's frustrating about this process. I feel like I'm getting eaten alive by both ends in this situation, because like I am someone who obviously is a fighter against anti-Semitism, and always have been and always will be. It's a fucking unacceptable bigotry. And for that reason, I despise these motherfuckers. One, because they're so pro-Israel, and two, because in the process of trying to defend Israel, they end up overextending and, making people feel like anti-Semitism is not a serious problem at all. Hassan is just Candace Owens. Yeah, totally. Like, I can't think of another person that is so diametrically opposite to me as like Candace Owens. You know what I mean? Yeah, it is a whole website run by some schizophrenic lady in Long Island. Yeah. I don't know who Jess Natalie is, but I know who is not anti-Semitic on this list, and I know who is anti-Semitic on this list. Jake Shields is an anti-Semite. He said a bunch of fucking, Jews control the media style things. Jackson Hinkle has said a bunch of anti-Semitic shit too. Candace Owens, anti-Semitic and anti-Israel. Daily Wire famously hired her, knowing full well that she was an anti-Semite, and fired her when, she wasn't just an anti-Semite, but also anti-Israel. That was a fun little process for Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring's operation there. Like, they hired her when she very famously said, Hitler just wanted to make Germany great. Like, she was anti-Semitic when you fucking hired her, dog. And then they fired her claiming it was for anti-Semitism. It's like, well, you knew that already. Jess Natalie is an anti-Zionist activist. Okay, that makes sense. Yep, there it is. Okay, so yeah, I guess she was also another one of these people that was lumped into this category for the crime of being upset at a fucking fascist country. Dan Bilzerian has also Dan Bilzerian very famously, if you look at like 30-second clips, you might come across Dan Bilzerian's commentary on Israel-Palestine and think, damn, this guy has some good ideas. But if you watch the clip thoroughly, okay, if you watch like the next 30 seconds, you're like, oh my God, he is an insane anti-Semite. And it's a gross situation. But yes, he is yet another person that like very clearly has a lot of anti-Semitic opinions. And then Bassem Youssef is not an anti-Semite either. And Bilzerian's Barstool correct? No. You can tell, but not everyone will care to make that distinction, unfortunately. I know. But the reality of the matter is most people don't give a shit, okay? Most people hate this cancel culture shit. Everybody hates it. Everybody knows exactly what it is. So when you're constantly fucking playing the role of a hall monitor going me, and crying about it, most people just go, yeah, I don't really give a shit. Okay, they're anti-Semitic. Who gives a fuck? Suck my dick. That's the other side of it. Click translate Zionism as Nazism. Look at the genocidal rhetoric in front of everyone without repercussions. All right, this is Sunday Funday. Okay, we're not going to dive deep into Israel's, atrocities today.
Piker said that America deserved 9/11. Now, when he said that, I assumed that he meant like the foreign policy, America's foreign policy, is a direct result of what happened at 9/11. So it was kind of like, but it was like kind of a sloppy way to say it. Understandable. Why, when I make videos about Japan, y'all be saying that they deserve the atomic bomb? Watch Grave of the Fireflies if you don't feel like reading. You will think twice about saying some stupid shit like that, okay? Secondly, you know why the atomic bombs happened? I mean, there were several reasons why it happened. Because it happened August 6th and 9th, okay, in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. But what I just found out was there was something that Japan was doing. So, see, here's the thing. Japan was going directly against the Geneva Convention at the time of World War II. And they were planning on dropping like pathogens and like diseases in Southern California. It was called Operation Cherry Blossom at Night. Japan was going to drop like disease and try biological warfare because that's what they were trying to figure out in Unit 731. That was the main focus. They were going to drop that shit in Southern California. Let's just say that they were literally doing a lot, too fucking much between World War I and World War II. And they needed to be humbled. At least that's what Western powers thought. Especially because Japan won against China and Russia, and still the Western world would not recognize them based on racial bias. So the Western world is always a catalyst for the atrocities that happen around the world, and that's something that we have to acknowledge. Does that mean that we, the citizens, the civilians of the Western world, deserve a bomb to be dropped on us or planes to run into our top? No, but we have to acknowledge the fact that our government is responsible for many millions of lives around the world lost. And to add motherfucking insult to injury, bitch, America pardoned all of those motherfuckers responsible for Unit 731. Yep. Like, Ishii died peacefully in his home. Most of those doctors that were experimenting on humans alive, like vivisections alive with no anesthetics, they went on to be politicians. They went on to be doctors, educators, because America said, we'll pardon you guys.
Yeah, also, this is like, she's addressing the reasons as to why America, like, even the false justification that America used. But obviously, the real reason why we did it was to flex on the USSR. Like, I think that played a much larger role in America's ambitions there. That's why we did it twice. But even though, like, even if the reason that America used, and there's a couple different ones that they use all the time, that still would not be valid, is the point that she's making. Like, he's addressing America's justification and reasoning for why they dropped the atomic bomb, and even then, even in the own like moral quandary that they've created, it's still silly. What is this? I thought this tweet was so stupid. Not sure if you saw it already. It's gonna be rocket science that if you spent the years bashing the Democrats, you're not getting Democrats money for media investments. And anyone who suggests Democrats should invest or capitulate to those types should be fired or never hired in the first place. Okay, this was kind of a bar from Olivia. I'm gonna give it to her. We probably shouldn't pick the leadership of our movements based on who was bullied by Matt Gaetz, says Mike from PA. And she goes, I'm not in party leadership or paid by the party in any capacity, dipshit. Damn. I mean, Mike had a good line, but I'm not gonna lie, Olivia kind of popped off on that one. Holy shit. Also, I think she's lying. She definitely did get, I don't know if she got paid, but I mean, she's vying for a position. And also, she does work within the Democratic Party, doesn't she? Anyway, she's 100% paid by the party.
Nice, right? As long as you give us the data, because we don't want the Soviets to have it. Now, when the Soviets got some of the doctors and people that were experimenting on them, they put them in jail for 20 years. But then I think in like 1950, they sent them back to Japan to kind of like ease the tension between the Soviet and Japan. Your government hates you, bro. They're at war with you. They will use you as pawns to get more power. So I understood what Hassan said. Would I have said it like that? Absolutely not, especially being black. What's even wilder is that I'm pretty sure America kept all that research in its archive somewhere. We'll probably never see it. They did. They took the Unit 731, is it 713 or 731? It's 731, right? I don't want to get it wrong. Holy shit. They did. Unit 731 research was the reasoning for why all the people that were conducting said quote unquote research were pardoned. And America absolutely kept that research and used it. America used it in the Korean War. Yeah, we did do that. Not only did we pardon them and then also directly put them back in positions of power, but also we abso-fucking-lutely continued using that quote-unquote research, specifically chemical weapons and biological warfare. Another Hasanabi girly popping with politics.
Criticism of Hassan Piker being too male-centered is like the point just going right over your fucking head. because he's supposed to be male-centered. That's the whole entire point. Y'all don't remember when he was doing Chad Vice? The alt-right pipeline has specifically targeted young dudes to radicalize, and we don't have hardly any male-centered leftists that young men can look up to and be like, hey, he's kind of cool, actually.
Let's go.
I get that he's fucking hot, okay? Believe me, I fucking get it. We want him to cater to us, too, but we need that. We need
Let's go.
that.
She gets it. He gets it. I like that he's male-centered and he has room to grow as a man viewing outside himself. Since Funday, Common, Bill Maher. What?
Could Elon Musk?
Oh, Bill Maher. Wait. Neil deGrasse Tyson criticizes Elon's plan to go Mars. Can Elon Musk realistically send humans to Mars? I have strong views on that. Okay, we'll look at Bill Maher. It's not fun, though. Bill Maher is not fun. Okay, I thought you meant Bill Burr, and I got excited because I thought you meant Bill Burr, but you meant Bill Maher instead, and that is not fun. All right. Speaking of actual fun, we're going to do Bad Empanada, who is now turning into Good Empanada, okay, who did a video specifically on a classic Keemstar Orbiter Slop YouTuber by the name of Willie Mac Show, and addresses some of his criticisms of me. And I think I assume, considering Bad Empanada is very knowledgeable on Israel-Palestine, and Willie Mac Show is not very knowledgeable, I would like to see Willie Mac viewers reminding him about the D video he said he was making a while ago. Some odd reason he stopped making it. They're a bit upset. Yeah, I mean, he's now, yeah, Willie Mac Slow is now totally a fucking major Destiny Orbiter. I mean, dude, I get it. I get it. Why the fuck wouldn't you be? He literally goes and trolls that subreddit. He just peruses Destiny's subreddit to fucking get like an easy 1 million viewed drama slop video. Like, why the fuck wouldn't he be excited at that prospect? That probably makes him like 10 grand. You know what I mean? That's easy money. It's easy money to just fucking not know a single damn thing about Israel-Palestine and just be like and make like a Hassan Bad video, you know?
We're going to have a new segment on the stream, which might never happen again, but I'm calling it a new segment. It's going to be called Slop Watch, where whenever a slop YouTuber steps out of their lane and talks about something serious, we fact check them. So we're going to fact check a slop YouTuber who usually talks about like Minecraft streamer drama, but decided to delve in to Israel-Palestine recently out of no reason aside from the fact that they hate Hassan. This is basically it. Like, these people used to make drama videos about gaming YouTubers, but then Hassan came onto the platform. You know, he's on the same platform as the gamers. So now, like, they hate him for getting more viewers than them while talking about things that actually matter. So now, like, in between the videos about like the latest like scandal of like I don't know, Pokimane having an affair with Asmongold's dog or some shit like that. You know, like the gamer World of Warcraft, League of Legends, whatever the fuck. I'm just throwing out words that I don't know what they mean. You now have this guy who has the brain power of like an almond telling us what to think about geopolitics, what to think about genocide. So we're going to check out what Willie Mac Show has to tell us. Just to check out the direction of his content. The direction of his content is put someone with lots of followers in the title. There is not a single video on his channel that is not about another YouTuber. And by far the videos that get the most views are the ones about Hassan, so that's why he's making them. So let's check it out. Let's see what he's got to say and let's fact check him for as long as we reasonably can until it becomes so grating that we would prefer not to live anymore. Let's check it out.
Last year, I started documenting Hassan for his blatantly false reporting.
Why do you talk like that? Why do you talk like that? What is this voice, for one? This is not a real person's voice. I thought my video voice was bad. What's this?
Insane meat munching. He made like 20 videos on you. I know. Can you explain what a grifter is and how you're not one? A grifter is a person that doesn't have any sort of like firmly held convictions or any sort of interest in the subject matter that they're covering. And they're basically simply covering it because the algorithm boosts that sort of commentary. Like, for example, if someone has no interest whatsoever in the ongoing genocide that Israel is engaging in Gaza, right? And the only videos that the only time they've ever actually afforded their platform to talking about this issue is to specifically farm drama off of a polarizing content creator such as myself, to just basically say my reporting on it is bad, and you know, the fact that they have no like real experience in this field whatsoever, and they're simply just like aggregating clip chimps off of you know, a particular subreddit, that would be a perfect demonstration of someone who is a grifter. The reason why I always laugh at the Hassan, you're a grifter allegations is because I have been endlessly consistent on my commentary, on my convictions that I firmly hold on to, and also the fact that not only can not only do my takes stand the test of time fairly well, with some minor exceptions that people seem to make a very big deal about, but that's fine. Grifting to the left is the most idiotic thing that you could possibly do. If I had no real convictions, if I had no real, genuine, personally held political opinions, why the fuck would I grift to the left? It's the most annoying group of people on the fucking planet. Okay, do you know how many people who also consider themselves to be diehard leftists who fucking hate me? Are you kidding me? It is the most annoying group of people on the planet. Okay, I'm sorry, it's just the truth. There's nothing the left hates more than someone who has an opinion that is a little bit marginally different than theirs. Okay, there is no big ticket donors on the left. Everything on the left has to be grassroots funded by you guys. Obviously, you guys fund this entire broadcast by subscribing, and many of you do, and I'm endlessly grateful for that sort of thing. But the reality of the matter is, there's a reason why. I mean, Bad and Empanada is a great example of this. Bad Empanada fucking shits on me all the time. You know? It is what it is, but the left is the stupidest fucking group of people to grift to because they are annoying. And it's impossible to get any sort of solidarity amongst the left. Okay? People will say, you're not far left enough. Some people will say, you're too far left. No such distinctions are usually made on the right. Okay? There is very little right-wing infighting. And when it happens, they pack that shit up quickly. The two most prominent examples of right-wing infighting that have occurred over the course of the past couple of years was when Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder duked it out a little bit for a second. Okay? But it didn't change the dynamic of the audience that much. Steven Crowder cried about the $50 million contract he got from Daily Wire, and he said it was slave labor, which was hilarious. And then the second most prominent example was when Candace Owens was anti-Israel under the Daily Wire wing, while also being anti-Semitic, of course. And Ben Shapiro was like, anti-Semitism is fine, but anti-Israel I can't stand. That kind of feuding is a daily occurrence on the left. People have an incredible amount of purity that like standards that they themselves do not abide by, that they try to subject others to. So it's a fucking idiotic thing to do. You think I'm a stupid person? Why does D-grift to the left seems to be working out well for his bank account law? I think that he just is a bait mercenary. He doesn't give a shit. He just wants to be contentious, and he knows that as long as he maintains a liberal posture and backs like institutional liberalism, he will always be able to maintain some level of an audience. He is not a leftist, though. I don't think Destiny has never really been a leftist. There was like a brief moment where I thought he might be, but he was not. He's just a very annoying liberal who says incredibly reactionary and edgy shit on a regular basis and will defend it. Yeah, he's perma stuck on whatever the liberal status quo is, and he'll always defend it. And I think part of the reason why is because you're going to base your worldview off of like empirical evidence. There's a whole bit of information that's readily available on the liberal side, right? Like, it's great. You can just like go to Wikipedia and just churn out, misunderstand what the fuck Wikipedia pages are telling you, and make it seem as though you're, infinitely more knowledgeable on the subject matter than the idiotic right-wingers that you're duking it out with. Because right-wingers not great at debating, and they're not great at understanding reality in general. So I think it's like a very easy way to present yourself as a intellectual giant, an intellectual titan. But overall, he does present a unique part of this space. I will admit that, where he has the energy and the toxicity of a, 4chan poll weirdo, like online forums, these people that frequent online forums and like engage in these cynical smear campaigns and stuff like that. But normally those people used to be like Nazis, right? And obviously Destiny himself doesn't care about someone being a neo-Nazi. Like he'll hang out with them. He'll try to have sex with them. Like Lauren Southern, I think he did have sex with her, as far as I understand, according to his ex-wife. And he'll prop their channels up. He'll actually give, Nick Fuentes his phone number to like a bunch of podcasters. So Nick Fuentes could go on the podcast circuit. Like he'll offer a lifeline to neo-Nazis. He'll collaborate with the likes of Sam Hyde, right? Because he just doesn't have any sort of real ideology. And he'll always be like, oh, I'm just debating them. And his audience, and I think he just like picks up a lot of those audience members who are interested in the blood sport of it all. And maybe it makes him seem like he's de-radicalizing people from their former neo-Nazi ways. But the reality is he's just, keeping that same exact energy, but specifically turning them towards being prominent members of his own personal cult that will still go after very similar targets that the neo-Nazis went after, right? Destiny doesn't defend capitalism. Yes, he does. What? So that's neither here nor there, though. Yeah, he's just a guy who's super edgy and a neoliberal, and I think that if the hegemonic attitude towards capitalism swung in the opposite direction somehow overnight magically, which would never happen, of course, he would just be defending that. Anyway, let's continue.
I was right about Ukraine. That's right. War is not imminent. Oh, shock.
An Israeli airstrike hit the Al Ahli hospital.
You were so right. They added 7,000.
Like he just puts that in. This is not something that these people like to do. Like they don't actually have to provide proof or evidence for their claims. They just like point at someone else saying something and insist that it's wrong without being able to explain why. People who consider themselves political commentators do that. So obviously a slop YouTuber is going to do it way more.
1,000 new troops. So what's going to end up happening is that by April, this is going to be done.
Gifted and bombed the hospital. Change title.
That's crazy. This is my first time actually encountering the Willie Mac Show video now by way of Bad Empanada watching it. That's amazing that this is what stands for fantastic political commentary that disparages like the 8 to 10 hours that I pour into talking about the subject matter. That is wild. This is the first time I've actually seen a clip of this fucking person's YouTube slop. That's incredible. Like you apologize and he didn't even include it. I mean, the notion that this will be done by April is you quoting Elon Musk. I'm pretty sure Lamau. Yeah, I don't even know what that's about, but it is pretty funny that like I straight up sent a bunch of citations from Marx himself on Marx's econ actually involves against the weird pseudo left debater ideals, and he straight up said to me he didn't care because it's not what people debating him say. He doesn't care about truth so much. What? I don't even know what you're talking about. Hassan never cites his sources. Hassan is out of his depth. Hassan never cites his sources. Hassan only goes on Twitter. These are some of the most common like things that you hear from people. And I think it's because like people want to seem smart. People want to feel smart. I get it. I understand that. I understand that interest. And so this makes people feel like if I've rubbed them the wrong way, or if they've seen a bunch of like negative clips about me, videos like this will give people enough like evidence in their minds who are not really paying attention to anything that's going on, that it gives them ample evidence to be like, yeah, he does suck. I actually did feel that way about him, and now I know exactly why. Yeah. This guy's just farming, no? Like, if anyone puts any time into you, it's pretty obvious you argue from a good POV and that you're not just arguing out of personal interest and opinion, but actual facts. Yes. I don't think this person has any care or consideration about politics or like a well-defined worldview anyway. I think they're just purely in it for algo.
IDF didn't bomb the hospital? Yes, it did!
Does this guy provide any evidence that it didn't bomb the hospital? No, he doesn't. He just insisted it didn't. And because Hassan said that it did, it must be wrong.
Yes, it did!
I criticized him for being a propagandist, coming to conclusions on breaking news when the story hadn't even been fully reported.
One of the funniest parts about our conversation when this fucking dildo came on the stream was when he didn't even know that, like, my reasoning originally for why Israel bombed Al Ahli was because, one, Israel had bombed the Al Ahli hospital 2 days prior. 2, Israel had bombed a whole bunch of places, including other hospitals that they've forcibly evacuated at that point. And 3, BBC and every other fucking Western outlet had also obviously arrived at that same conclusion early on in the morning. Why else? Why would they not arrive at that conclusion? It makes no fucking sense to be like, oh, this must have been a rocket misfire. And last but not least, of course, once again, in the Al Ahly situation, which they never talk about anymore, by the way, they only bring up Al Ahly if you're a fucking dumbass who doesn't know anything about what has happened so far. And there's plenty of people who don't pay attention. So I think that's the reason why they, watch videos like this. Okay. I do find it very funny that these guys will be like, the only time they ever talk about it is like, remember the last time Hassan said Israel bombed Al Ahly, which, forensic architecture had already debunked time and time again Israel's counter narratives about what was going on. Like what Israel claimed had actually happened, which the media took and immediately ran with. Israel has blown up every fucking hospital since then. Every single one. And not a single peep from these fucking dipshits to be like, oh, I'm sorry that I said Israel never bombed the Al Ahly hospital or that they would never bomb any hospitals. They bombed every university and every fucking hospital since then. It's so stupid.
You right now is the same thing.
You are somehow coming to incorrect conclusions about something literally a year later. So you don't even have that excuse.
You always do. I'm just saying,
No,
like this,
you
you're
just
doing
stop
it in
saying
real
it's the same thing
time.
you always
The other part about this story that's like really interesting, the dynamic that is really interesting about like a drama slop farmer like Willie Mac show, is that the subject matter is me, right? I'm the subject matter of his video. He didn't even have the fucking talking points that he supposedly had like real serious convictions over. He had to go back and watch his YouTube video to debate me on it. And if I'm the subject matter of the video, like my statements on like what I actually meant should be valid, right? But no, of course not. There is no reason to hear what I have to say because there is no real interest in understanding the truth.
You're doing it in real time, bro.
Over the course of an 8-hour broadcast, if you look to literally 3
How
moments,
come nobody else
you
shut
can
up
find
as much as you, dude? That does 8-hour broadcasts.
because no one has the most psychopathic fandom like idiots like you who sit through every minutia.
Isn't it great? Like, you're just supposed to like look at this and assume that he's right or something. He doesn't actually need to make any arguments. Doesn't need to provide any proof of his claims. You just look at this and it's like, well, does he actually do that at some point? Let's find out. It's like, look at all these things that I'm insisting is sort of self-evidently bad. Because I don't actually know why they're bad. I just sort of have a gut feeling that they're bad. So let me show them to you. Like you saw in the previous segment where I responded to like a clip of Ethan Klein's Zionist compilation. Rather than just showing you the clip and insisting, oh, this is wrong. I told you why it's wrong. This guy shows you a clip and you're just supposed to listen to it. And I guess it's wrong just because he's pointing at it, I guess.
To find a
called
clippable
research.
moment,
It's
to
actually
find a
just called-
clippable
it's
moment
just
to be like,
called
he
basic
sucks, he's
research.
bad. That's
You
the
make
reason,
research
dickhead.
sound bad.
All right.
You followed this up by interviewing a terrorist, eating up propaganda about taking hostages. You think he
Terrorists, right? You can just brand someone as a terrorist if you're this fucking white guy who sounds like he's struggling to speak. You're this guy here. You can just say that someone is a terrorist, providing zero evidence for it. Why?
Probably the best example of a grifter I can imagine. He has no passion for the conflict. He thinks he's debunking you on. Doesn't even have the talking points readily available. Yeah, I wanted to talk to him about Israel-Palestine, but he was like, no, I want you to simply watch my video. I was like, why the fuck would I do that, bro? I'm the person you're talking about. Just tell me what your anger and your frustration is and we can go over it. Which he had to literally go back and, wait, what is this? Relevant?
Hold on, can you
Because
pause
that's
for a
like-
second?
that's such an-
I'm sorry to do it. This guy right here in the top left, the one that they're all
Oh, there he is. He's like hanging out with Destiny and Dan Saltman.
having a great time with, this guy's a killer.
Well, no,
you don't know if he killed anybody.
He probably is.
What do
never...
you mean? He boards fucking boats?
Yeah, but after they're already taken over, he's not part of like the
Oh,
takeover
I'm sorry.
team.
He's not cool
He's
enough.
hanging out with the hostages, but we don't
Oh,
know
I'm
if
sorry.
He also wasn't hanging out with the hostages. That was a moment that was like lost in translation, but like he wasn't hanging out with the hostages at all. And the people were using a clip that was from a totally separate video to be like, oh, look at this clip. Like, here he is hanging out with the hostages. No, he didn't board the boats either. No, he didn't fucking board the boats either. He went on Galaxy, the boat that had become a tourism destination in Sana'a. You're wrong. All of this stuff is wrong. Why do people not care about being wrong so frequently? It just doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, yes, the Ansar Allah militants took over a bunch of boats, including the Galaxy one, okay? They boarded the boat, they put the boat in the port in Sana'a, and then they turned it into a tourism destination. So people could just simply pay, I think like $1 or something to go and see the boat, Galaxy Leader. That's it. And Timothy Chalamet, Rashid, okay? You're the biggest liar I've ever seen. It's written all over your face. You are bullshitting. Okay, man.
My bad.
I'm
my
trying
bad.
to be accurate, Dan.
Yeah.
You're trying to fight
No one dies.
disinformation with disinformation.
No one dies on these things.
No, there's no
nobody's
videos
saying
of him
that.
in like active
Yeah,
combat. It's just him like touring and shit after.
He's saying he hasn't spent much time with Chinese people, but one of the captain was Chinese, and he did qat with them, and he danced.
Like, this either is a mistranslation because the captain wasn't even Chinese, or he's just fucking flexing. Okay?
Some music with them, and he was vibing. So he
like, I think he saw a fucking clip of another earlier. It is a mistranslation. He either saw a fucking clip. He's not flexing. He's joking. Oh, okay. I don't know, but he saw an older TikTok. Why is this video relevant at all? You're lying, Hassan. I can read your mind. It's a mistranslation. Qatari Cat, what is he saying there? You also have to remember, like, I can't fucking understand what he's saying. He can't understand what I'm saying. That's why I had Fuad be the translator in this situation. But Willie does nothing. Willie does anything to not confront genocide and heaves his lack of care onto you and everyone else. It's like deliberate placing of oneself to be negatively polarized. Like, who asked these motherfuckers to be political? I fucking hate it. Anyway. But yeah, if you want the actual facts, if you want to know what is the reality, I asked him in the interview if he was a Houthi militant. I still maintain the position that I have every right to fucking interview a Houthi militant or someone who is like a prominent member of the Ansar Allah administration. I think there's journalistic value to doing such a thing. When I thought that he might be a Houthi militant personally, because we saw all the clips and everyone was calling him like jokingly Timothy Chalamet, I was of course very excited to do this. Okay. But the interview, in my perspective, at least, once he said he was not, of course, changed, like the dynamic of the interview changed. And every single real news outlet, no matter how fucking right-wing they are, have openly stated that they know that this person is not a militant anyway. Most people would be given props for bagging an interview like this. I know. The New York Times reached out to me to try and get their contact information. Okay? Yes. Other journalists like Jeremy Scahill, Ryan Grimm, and many others were like, that was a fantastic interview. I'm glad that, you know, someone is out there capable of being able to reach out to these people and actually even fucking humanize them. Because why wouldn't I? Anyway, let's continue.
Why is he a terrorist? He's an Arab in Yemen. Why else would he be a terrorist, right? Someone who, by the way, like, what terrorist attack has he committed? What terrorist attack has he committed? I can point to a terrorist attack that Hillary Klein has participated in. What terrorist attack did this guy participate in? Could you point to that for us? Which one? What did he do? I'd like to offer, I believe his name is Rashid Al-Khalidi. We will crowdfund a GoFundMe so you can sue whichever one of these people you choose. This guy could be the easy target. There's precedent for this working because, for example, Sacha Baron Cohen's video Bruno, he framed a random Palestinian grocer as like a terrorist, and he ended up having to pay that guy hundreds of millions of dollars in a defamation case, or at least tens of millions. Rashid, my friend from Yemen, you have a chance at a huge payout here, and we will gladly crowdfund you. Pick like the most egregious of them, calling you a terrorist.
I speak Arabic. Rashid didn't say any of that. Your translator speaking another dialect, Levantine, opposed to Rashid's Yemeni dialect. He never said he took caught with the captain or the crew. I don't know what he said. I still don't, to this day, know what he fucking said. But what I do know is I have no reason not to trust him when he says he's not a fucking Houthi, okay? He lives in Yemen. He has every reason to even lie and say he is Houthi in an effort to not get fucking punished by seemingly coming across as he's disparaging the Ansar Allah movement. You know what I mean? What's crazy about it is that he literally has been apprehended by the authorities in Yemen before, like, according to his own Twitter account. So it's like fucking ridiculous that people are just like, why would he lie? Why would he fucking lie? He has no reason to lie. He lives in Yemen, brother. He can just fucking be like, yeah, I hate Jewish people and I'm Ansar Allah and we're doing this for anti-Semitism. If that was his genuine perspective, he could just say that. Okay? What are you going to do? Cancel him? He's in fucking Yemen. He could be killed tomorrow by an American bomb. Like, that's the point that I don't understand, that people are just like, you should have been debating him. You should have been debate lording him. And it's like, why would I do that? There's a person who is 18 years old at this point and has only known genocide his entire life, okay? Saudi and UAE-backed, America-backed genocide. That's all he's known. Americans are in Yemen. No, American bombs directly fucking blow up parts of Yemen, though. They fly over it and, you know, lob rockets into even Sana'a and the ports and every other part of it.
Arrest, and let's get them in court trying to justify that label. I'd love to see that. That would be fantastic.
Propaganda about taking hostages.
He's saying he hasn't spent much time with Chinese people, but one of the captain was Chinese, and he did qat with them, and he danced some music with them, and he was vibing. So he.
This is funny, by the way, because not one of the captains in any of the ships that the Houthis seized in that anti-genocide blockade, by the way, literally a blockade against Western shipping, that to put pressure on Western countries and Israel to stop doing genocide. That's what that is. Nonetheless, there was literally no Chinese captain, obviously. How did he talk to a Chinese captain when there is no Chinese captain? What he did is he saw an unrelated video, a TikTok from before this was even happening, of like a ship captain who had docked in Yemen, like doing drugs with Yemenis. A Bulgarian at that, not even a fucking Chinese, because there's no Chinese captains in Yemen. No, there's no Chinese captains involved in this at all. So he's talking about a TikTok video that he watched, and these guys say like, okay, that's like dispositive evidence that he's a terrorist. Also, even if he had talked to a captain, how would that make him a terrorist? Is terrorism when you speak to someone who was like a crew member of a ship that was seized in an anti-genocide blockade? Just speaking to them makes you a terrorist? Is that how this works? I would love to get this guy on stream to explain to us his logic and also to get him to present to us his evidence.
He likes them, yeah.
So, I mean, what? That's so crazy.
He's saying that they went over the cruise on these.
It's the entire video just like him rehashing a video that he already made, where you're supposed to look at the clips and just assume that he's correct. That whatever he's implying.
Yes, the answer is yes, by the way. For most people, it's like, it's perfectly packaged drama slop. It takes 1 second to lie about a person, especially when there is an overwhelming amount, amount of social conditioning geared in one way. And it takes an hour to fucking break down exactly why this is wrong, while still taking into account the broader audience's personal hangups on the matter. Okay? You could just say, brown kid has a gun, terrorist. I have to now describe how terrorism is a political designation that is ultimately utterly meaningless. It has no legal basis, and that the likes of Nelson Mandela were on the terror watch list until 2008, when I conducted this interview with a person who wasn't even a part of the Ansar Allah movement. But even if he was, it still would have been perfectly valid. The Ansar Allah movement had not even been declared a terror organization, or rather the terrorism organization designation was going to take 30 fucking days by the State Department to actually be implemented. Joe Biden had taken off the Ansar Allah movement from the terrorism designation in the State Department earlier. Okay? How am I going to describe this to people who are just like, nah, I see brown guy, has a gun, he's terrorist, he wants to kill white people, he probably has killed white people, you know? It's like when my boomer dad shows me a 15-second Instagram vid that's supposed to completely change my political perspective. It's all on how you package it that gets people riled up. Is insane. Yeah. And then besides that, Yemen, which is one of the poorest countries on the fucking planet, has literally the highest rate of gun ownership per capita after the United States of America, which is ironic because, you know, you don't really immediately assume when someone is a gun owner, they're a fucking white supremacist terrorist, for example, you know?
About this is right, even though we provide zero evidence for you to believe that. Like, the reason why this guy is being called a terrorist by this guy is because he's Arab. That's literally, his criteria to be a terrorist is to be Arab. He could not explain to you what terrorist attack he's engaged in. He couldn't even explain to you what terrorism the Houthis have supposedly engaged in. He could just point to, like, the anti-genocide blockade, and then if he had to deal with a counter-argument on that, he would flop in 2 minutes because he doesn't fucking know what he's talking about. Honestly, these people are embarrassing. Like, who watches this and is just like, yep, you know, he's clearly owning this guy here by just showing a video without being able to refute a thing.
ships and they like win them over with their charm and they make them hate America and the U.S. government.
That's so funny. Okay, that doesn't probably take much.
Yeah, hilarious. The crew is still held captive, and Dissent continues to.
Yeah, hilarious. I mean, it is. I think it is hilarious. Yeah, I stand by that for sure. Yeah. First of all, this dude, Rashid, there's no evidence that he actually linked up with any fucking captain whatsoever, especially considering that he's saying the captain is Chinese. There is no Chinese captain. What we found out was that there's an older video that he probably saw that he was talking about where I don't even know if it's from Yemen or not, where they're like, you know, a bunch of captains, I think a Bulgarian captain's like chewing cot or something. Having said that, this part, yeah, I mean, he just laughs at it and goes, oh, that's pretty funny. It is. Like, why is anybody supposed to go, no, I hate that. I can't believe he's laughing about that. Like, what? Yeah, I think this was the OG video. Yeah, it was this video. Yeah. It's from fucking literally March 27th, 2022. This is the video that they're showing, by the way. They're saying this is the Chinese captain. But I don't know. I don't know if he was Bulgarian or not. I think anyway, I don't know if that guy is Bulgarian or not. I think he might be. A majority of the internet believes Hassan is an Arab because he's Muslim and his name is Hassan. Like 2 out of 3 Americans in general could not tell you where Turkey is on a map and just assume it's an Arab country because it sounds Arab to them. Yeah. The Galaxy Leader captain is Bulgarian. He's not Chinese. Sorry. Thank you. He didn't see any Chinese person. He literally said that. The translator added the cot part.
Which crew? Where's the Chinese captain here? Where's the Chinese captain here? Could you point to the Chinese captain for us? Because there is no Chinese captain. Like, we are supposed to believe that stopping ships that are trying to run a blockade to put pressure on countries supporting a genocide, no less, that is terrorism. That is bad. He doesn't need to explain to us why it's bad. He can just point at it because he and his audience are of the same intelligence level. So
yeah, that's the problem. It's like when America does blockades, that's good and based, like in Cuba, even though the entire world is against it, right? When a nation state that was in the throes of genocide until like literally a couple years prior, okay, says what Israel is doing in Gaza is a genocide. We have to stop it. And we are going to implement a blockade in the Red Sea in an effort to get Israel to apply further pressure to Israel to stop is genocide of Palestinians in Gaza. That's bad. You can't do that. You should be blown up, which, by the way, was a demonstrable fucking failure for America. Operation Prosperity Guardian cost billions of dollars, and it didn't actually do shit. It didn't even stop anything. One of the Israeli ports is now completely bankrupt as a direct consequence of this blockade. So yeah, these are guys actually doing something. Okay? These are the people who are literally doing something. What are you doing? Nothing. You're making drama slop videos. Like, what do you guys think America does when they fucking intercept ships? Most of the time, America says we're instituting a blockade and no ships pass. But when some ships do pass, what do you think they do? They fucking intercept the ships. That's exactly what America does as well. They've literally stolen direct oil tankers going between Venezuela and Iran and shit. Like, what are we talking about? The fuck? Like, what? So that's fine. That's valid. But when another country, God forbid, outside of the sphere of influence of America engages in the same thing, then whoa, that's the biggest meanie bobini thing you could fucking do. That is completely unacceptable. You know, your Twitch stream doesn't change nothing until you go on mainstream TV like CNN and MSNBC. What are you saying, dude? You're like, just quit. What the fuck? Shut up. It does change things. It changes people's minds, okay? Yeah, U.S. embargo blocks coronavirus aid shipment from Asia. Like, we've done such cruel, unimaginably cruel things to Cuba. And you also have to remember, mildest Google research would show Yemen has been trading the crews from the ships for their own people being held by the Saudis. Yeah, also, you have to look to like what the reason is. The reason for why we have an embargo on Cuba is because our fascist dictatorship that we backed and offered material support to and offered arms to, Batista's dictatorship, was forcibly overthrown in a revolution in Cuba. Okay? And we never let that go. We were very mad that our sugar plantations were taken away. We were mad that like our mob's tourism destination was taken away. We were mad at the Cuban Revolution. So we punished Cuba and the Cuban population permanently since that very moment, and we've never stopped. Whereas what these guys are doing a good thing, okay? That's it. Like their purpose even if you don't agree with their methods, okay, you very clearly don't think much about the ways in which America does this for bad reasons, okay? But like overall, the goal there is to stop ships from going through the Red Sea. That's it. To just cut it out entirely. There's some level of deterrence that takes place in that process, and that's precisely the reason why America blew up fucking ports and different parts of Yemen in Operation Prosperity Guardian to bring the Ansar Allah administration to heel, to get them to stop intercepting ships, which they never did. So they just basically decided, you know, fuck it. I guess we failed on this. But the goal there was, you know, very clearly to stop all of these ships from moving through the Red Sea and instead to take the route of the Horn of Africa. Okay? That was it. It's not to like, you know, engage in piracy and steal all the goodies from all these fucking ships, or it's not because like they are horny to take hostages or whatever.
It works on them.
And Dissent continues to glorify terrorism by playing their propaganda and passing it off.
These are terrorists and this is their propaganda. These are terrorists and this is that. He doesn't even need to prove his initial claims. He just needs to point. It's true because I said so. Don't expect me to actually make any arguments.
His happy musicals.
Even a music video, they love walking over like the American flag and the Israeli flag side by side. They will always like march on it.
When you said music video, I'm expecting like...
You zoomed in on that? Stepping on the American flag and Israeli flag is just sort of self-evidently bad, I guess. You know, these genocidal imperialist nations.
Example, Chris Brown dancing, you know.
No. They do like, they do musicals. They're very musical people.
Praising their leaders, all while hypocritically defending Russia and China's invasion of their neighbors.
You call Crimea? I call it a part of Russian territory, bitch. That's what I call Crimea. I call it Crimea River. Bite the bullet on the Tim Houthi kid. Why? Why would I ever? If I did something that was fucked up.
Bite the bullet. What? Like, he doesn't even make his argument. He does not make any sort of argument.
Crimea is a part of Russian territory. It's just true. It is annexed by Russia. And what Ukraine did in that process after it was annexed by Russia, which is very different than Russia's current invasion of Ukraine, which is why it's been an ongoing, massive, inhumane military campaign that is killing thousands of fucking people and has displaced millions of people. Okay. To make this comparison between Crimea and what Russia is doing in Ukraine right now is idiotic. And no one would take you fucking seriously if you were to make that comparison, okay? What Ukraine did in the aftermath of the Russian annexation of Crimea was to blow up the fucking, was to dam the waterways that were going in from Ukraine into Crimea, okay? To completely shut them off from access to water, their natural water supply. Ukraine also was running with the mentality that Crimea was no longer a part of Ukraine when they did that, okay? So fuck. Why is this racist pig Hassan still not banned? Because no matter how hard you cry, most normal people understand offering analysis and offering context to global affairs, even if you don't agree with it, is not a bannable offense. Okay? There is a difference between doing that and just being like, I love Russia. I think what Russia is doing is good. I don't. It's very obvious that I don't think what Russia is doing is good. It's very obvious that I don't think what Israel is doing is good either. Okay? You can't just like hope that other people also get fucking brain broken in the same way that you do. Okay? This is a clear example of extremism. They aren't even aware that America good is the pillar of their worldview and see any reason anyone says otherwise a lunatic, but are arrogant enough to refuse to listen to reason. Yes. Okay? The question I always have for people is like, what do you do in that situation? What have you done in this situation? What have you done to be like, okay, you know, what Israel is doing is unconscionable, it's genocide. It's Nazi shit. What have you done? Okay? I'm not going to sit around and be like, well, you know, all these other people, they're I would have dealt with this differently. Like how would you deal with it? And as far as like Hassan is pro-Ukrainian and Chinese invasions, like I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about with respect to China's invasion. But as far as Ukrainian invasion, I've never been for invading Ukraine. There's never been a moment where I've been pro-invading Ukraine. And every single person has just like gone along with like all the NATO defenders have just so successfully been like, nah, Hassan loves Russia. He has always been on board with Russia invading Ukraine. It's just not true. And spending 3.5 seconds in this broadcast will help you arrive at that conclusion very quickly. Okay? Don't let chat think that Willie Mack and his fans are spending any time thinking about any of these things that we're talking about. They simply do not care about this. I know. but this is important. Yes, I also did literally do a fundraiser for Ukraine as well in the immediate aftermath of Russia's unjustifiable and immoral invasion of Ukraine.
You notice that, right? He just shows you things and points at them.
By my estimations, I would of course apologize for it. I have time. Yeah, by the way, the Russian government legit called me a homosexual influencer as opposed to the brilliant, brave Russian troops. So, you know, I don't think the Russian government considers me pro-Russia. Time and time again.
Name one time. He can't because he's never owned up to anything. Hassan continued.
You haven't proven anything. You just show clips and insist that you are correct. This is him doing an ad, of course. Moral consistency. Let's check it out, guys. Wait, what, talking about Jews?
By some of the most inbred fundamentalist hicks.
No, it's not illegal.
It's so beautiful here. I should go to the old city so I can get my fucking shit pushed in. By some of the most inbred fundamentalist hicks.
No, it's not illegal. It's not.
It's just talking about Jews. Would it be wrong? Would this guy think that it was? Oh, he probably.
Wait, no, I'm talking about the ultra-Orthodox settlers. What the fuck? Who would disagree with that? What do you mean? Like, he says, talking about Jews. Nice, dude. Yeah, I say that about Alabama too, dumb fuck. The fuck? Ethan got mad about that, but he also said that before. Ethan got mad about that? Ethan has said infinitely worse shit about Orthodox Jews. What the fuck? He said they smell bad and shit. That is insane. I didn't even know Ethan said that. Are you fucking serious? Oh my God. Like, in his latest video, he said he's planning on using that clip about you. There ain't no fucking way. Ethan is going to use what you said about the settlers in a hit video in a few days. That is crazy. They're talking about your application of inbred towards ultra-conservatives, applying it to just moments when you've mentioned Jews in the same breath. No, there's not. This is not. What the fuck? It's been bad. The well goes far deeper than you would want to know. I mean, yeah. It's also kind of crazy that he's planning on doing that, because it's like, didn't he literally fucking film Orthodox Jews in Israel and call them like dirty and smelly and shit? That's crazy. Like, I say that about the Amish too. I say that about fucking right-wing Christian fundamentalists in Alabama too. Hassan said Jews are inbred. He loves saying that. I've got a little compilation going. That's the exact quote from Ethan.
Well, he's probably like a white nationalist. He probably would think it's wrong if you call like guys who fly Confederate flags in the US inbred hicks as well. Moral consistency. Okay, let's check this out. Let's see if the first 3 minutes of the video aren't even original content. It's just him showing clips for like really dumb people to get angry at.
His son's politics really baffles me. He just doesn't seem very consistent. When Russia invaded Ukraine, he constantly justified it by saying Ukraine and its army was full of Nazis. This is the
First of all, the Ukrainian army is like, there are definitely Nazis in the Ukrainian army, but I also always talked about how that is a false justification to invade a country, and the Russian army also has fucking Nazis in it too. If you literally clip one part of my commentary and don't feature the entire breadth of the commentary, yeah, of course. The American army has a fuckload of Nazis, dumbass. That doesn't mean that you could just like nuke Washington, D.C. What the fuck?
same propaganda.
Why the fuck would I like a right-wing capitalist kleptocratic piece of shit like Vladimir Putin? It doesn't make any sense. What the fuck? Anyway.
And Russia pushes. His son acted like every citizen in Ukraine was on the verge of
Did you say that he supports the invasion?
fascism.
The reason why a small amount of nationalist forces gaining prominence is additionally f***ing terrifying. It's like Tinder, okay? It can call.
This clip is, or I can already tell, it's not him saying the invasion was justified because of this. It's just him saying, acknowledging that something existed.
Cause a f***ing wildfire of nationalism because it's already baked in to the attitudes of the commoner, okay?
Wait, he fucking said, wait, dude, I can't. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm right. This is me criticizing Vladimir Putin. What is this? What is this dumb fuck saying? Oh my God, this is objectively true. This is a very consistent position that I've held when talking about Hamas as well. Like, there is a reason why reactionary movements that are otherwise nascent will grow in prominence in times when they are seen as the only emancipatory forces. This is precisely what I was talking about. This is me saying Vladimir Putin's unjustifiable invasion of Ukraine will actually develop and grow the nationalist movement. That is the whole point. They're too stupid to understand, and they don't know anything about the conflict either. So they just like literally don't understand. I think he thinks I'm talking about what is. I don't even know why he posted this. This is like This is like when people come in here and they're like, I bet you love the thing that you're actively criticizing right now. Like, what are you talking about? I mean, this is one of my oldest takes from the invasion of Ukraine. Okay? I need to find it. It's like from the day of the invasion where I was like, does anyone have that tweet? Can you send it to me real quick? I just want to show you what I was saying there and what I have been saying and what I will continue to say because it's correct, which is when you invade a country, when Russia invaded Ukraine, they ended up making all of the paramilitary groups that might have had nationalist opinions or might have had fucking neo-Nazi opinions become the #1 defenders of Ukraine. It gave them prominence. It's not only unjustifiable, it's not only unjustifiable to invade Ukraine, it's also ridiculous to claim that you're doing it to fucking purge the country of neo-Nazis, okay, which I never actually believed. Okay? But also on top of that, here it is. Every time an imperialist or irredentist power decides to encroach upon a smaller nation, the most right-wing nationalist elements are seen as emancipatory forces willing to do the violence necessary for liberation. A dangerous prospect for Ukraine stuck between the West and Russia. Also, it's laughable to think Russia has any valid liberating claims here. Bombing Western Ukrainian military positions to defend LPR and DPR is just USA-style bullshit propaganda. Almost as bad as claiming Ukraine started shelling more in Donbass when there's 200,000 troops at the border. This is objectively correct analysis about how right-wing movements grow in prominence when the country is invaded. This is the same in fucking Iran. Okay? This is how Palestinians basically evolved into the Palestinian attitude towards Hamas shifted dramatically over the course of the last 3 fucking decades. This is a very consistent take. It's almost a universal truth. I feel like a lot of people just simply don't understand the things that I'm saying, and they just overall cling on to vibes because I've made them feel shitty, maybe made them feel stupid at a certain point. So they just like look to someone to be like, yeah, this guy's actually a real fucking idiot. He's actually real hypocritical. And they go, oh, thank God. Thank God someone's out here saying what I've been feeling. You know what I mean? It's so strange that he clipped this objectively correct take to make it seem like I'm actually pro-Russia here. This is the exact opposite of being pro-Russia, dumbass. Every person already has like a predisposition towards nationalist tendencies. So the issue is when you start legitimizing the nationalist guys, boom, all of a sudden the country could turn fascist like that, okay?
He justified Russia annexing Ukraine.
What?
Constantly.
Regardless of whether he wants it or not, he needs it as a buffer state. Exactly. Russia's historic access into the Black Sea.
How was that him justifying that? That was literally just like an explanation of why Russia invaded. And he takes it as like him endorsing it, I guess.
Crimea, that's like...
He just shows clips and you're supposed to take them the way that he's framing them when they don't even say what he's saying at all, for one. And for two, he doesn't actually explain like what is even going on, why you're supposed to think it's bad. Honestly, this video, it's not transformative enough to be considered free use. It's not. It's not. Like saying one line and then showing 10 clips of someone else is not transformative. Hassan should copyright strike this 100%. He should just copyright strike this. This would not pass in court for fair use. Hassan should just lawsuit this guy and everyone else who makes videos that are just like 5 minutes of a Hassan clip and then one word of commentary. These people should not be allowed to just make money by taking your clips, compiling them, and saying one sentence every 5 minutes. This is like 3 or 4 times more successful than his usual videos. He should not be allowed to get away with this shit. If you want to make a video criticizing someone, you should at least be expected to like respond to their clips for like at least half the duration that you're playing the clips. Ideally more than the duration that you're playing the clips, but I think that's a fair standard. This is not that. It's him saying...
I've personally witnessed how some of these creators have influenced their audience to believe that you're pro-Russia and then equate it to pro-USSR, and it's kind of insane. They will type in all caps. They will talk about both entities but make no points. This is Red Scare 3.0. He's basically restreaming your content while ruining the context of your words while trying to frame you as a terrorist. It's genuinely insane. Yeah, it is what it is. Let's keep going.
One sentence, and then he shows like 10 clips in a row. He's not even actually doing anything with the video. It's not transformative in the slightest. There's not like enough commentary here, enough criticism to qualify as fair use.
Okay?
He justified Russia annexing Ukraine constantly.
Regardless of whether he wants it or not, he needs it as a buffer state. Exactly. Russia's historic access into the Black Sea, Crimea, that's like historically and ethnically all Russian, majority Russian.
They're not.
This also is true. Like, Russia displaced the ethnic majority in the area, the indigenous population in Crimea, under the USSR many years prior to this conversation. And time again, I have talked about the historic relevance of this. Okay? Not only that, but Sevastopol was already loaned to the Russian government. So they already had a fucking military base there at the edge of Crimea. It's its access into the Black Sea. Russia has always used that. So there is a reason why when they went into Crimea and annexed it, there was, it wasn't like fucking Russia's current, what is this, bro? You literally platformed a terrorist. You didn't interview him. You sucked his entire penis. Yeah, well, I fucked your dad in the ass last night too, but I don't see you fucking complaining about that. Possibly because he really enjoyed it. He's gay now, okay? Like, how am I supposed to fucking deal with this childish mentality? That person is not a fucking terrorist. You just think he is. That's it. Cutting clips and then adding and then cutting back is so disgustingly deceptive. Yeah, but good luck.
Nazis, everyone's going to be radicalized, but when it comes to a fundamentalist group like Hamas that theoretically would run the country, Hassan doesn't seem to have those same worries. He justifies it by using Republicans as stand-ins for Hamas.
I'm saying that the gay people and the trans people that are living under those conditions in Gaza, right, see Israel as a far larger problem in their existence than they do like Islamic fundamentalism in terms of governance.
That's not even like the same thing. He's talking about like homophobic attitudes in like third world countries, in colonized countries, and he's comparing that to Hassan.
And I'm also oh my God, I've never watched a video where I'm so fucking right, and all of these fucking dumbasses are just like primed against me, so they just literally look at this and go, no, yeah, this is great. Like, did this guy straight up put my fucking W's on there? This is like the Fox News article. This is every anti-Assam video, and I'm not joking. I stopped watching these videos a long time ago because I realized that like me actually responding to them in good faith only allowed them to clip more shit out of context and to like continue running with this narrative, not really realizing that most of these videos were just like things that I'm actually saying that are objectively correct and oftentimes not even related to how they're trying to frame it. Hassan hates inferior cultures, he says.
Mentioning that like the Azov battalion exists at all. In a clip where Hassan didn't actually say that he thought that justified the Russian invasion. This does not make any sense at all.
Yeah, I've actually said the exact opposite numerous times, by the way. There are a million different instances, including in the clips that he clipped out of context. If we go back in time, now it's so fucking far back, but like if you go back in time and if you look at the actual VODs of the clips that he clipped from, that he didn't even personally clip, he just got it from fucking, any number of different like pro-Ukrainian, pro-NATO guys who have been using these clips and like recycling them over and over again in bad faith, you will find out that probably right after the context that was cut short, I immediately talk about how it is completely unacceptable that Russia used that as a justification. It is not a correct justification. It is a false justification to invade a country. It's kind of crazy. Check out the Google Doc I sent. They're using this in their campaign. They made a fucking Google Doc that is so insane, brother. Anti-Semitism and terrorist propaganda on Twitch. Statements. The statements made in this document are the author's opinions. They should not be taken as fact. I like that they put a little disclaimer in there because they're like, hey, we're going to be smearing this guy, so please don't sue us. What is this Google Doc, dude? Oh my God. This is insane. Doesn't they give him your email? My email is public. That's wild. Better or worse in the woke games list? For context, we must go back to the formation of Hasanabi's channel and discuss neo-fusionism. Yeah. Okay. Once again, time and time again, I've talked about how the Azov battalion's existence is not a reasonable, is not a just cause, or is not like is not good reason to invade Ukraine. I'm sure that there are plenty of tweets that you can point to for that as well. Okay, I mean, I'm right here. I'm still talking about like Russia's invalid liberating claims. Like, it's pretty obvious that I'm anti-Russian intervention in Ukraine, military intervention in Ukraine, I think, right? I don't know how you fucking arrive at that conclusion. But I guess like if there's enough people that avoid all of my talking points and just like clip it out of context, You know, where is the can you say it again? I was busy grifting. I mean, there's plenty of things that I've tweeted out. There's plenty of videos that I've covered on like the fact that like Azov Battalion or any other like neo-Nazi military groups that are a part of like the Ukrainian National Guard or a part of the Ukrainian military does not justify Russia's invasion of Ukraine over and over again. I'm pretty sure that someone can key search it on my Twitter and find the many different instances where I've actually talked about that as well. So it'd be a shame if people contacted Willie Mac's sponsor, Pocket Money, and mentioned that they're sponsoring anti-Semitic, homophobic, slanderous grifter. I mean, why are you sending me that the libs want me to join fucking Blue Sky? I'm asking for a very specific tweet, and everyone in the chat is just like on their own shit, on their own tip. They're like, hey man, have you thought about joining Blue Sky? It's crazy.
Like, it's just like, this is what I say all the time. These people's strategy is to either point at something and insist that it is by default wrong, or to compare something with something that is obviously different and insist that it's the same.
If we were getting ruthlessly slaughtered by an alien force, I wouldn't give a fuck if someone was homophobic or not. I'd be like, thank you for
Why are you zooming in on this? Like, it's not self-evidently correct. Why are you zooming in on him here? Like, you think that you just got him in like a fucking ownage moment. What's wrong about what he's saying? Can you explain that?
Fighting against the alien force. That seems awesome that you're doing that. I would actually arm up side by side with my fellow homophobic, Republican, rabid Christian fundamentalist sociopaths to try and protect my home. And that's the point.
That's the same thing as the Azov Battalion fighting in Ukraine. How does he have these conflicting?
That's not conflicting. That's what I'm saying, because I'm being critical of Russia, you fucking idiot. Wait, it's not. It's the point. It's the same point. That's why. That's one of many different reasons why I'm anti-Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Oh my God. That's insane. So this entire thing is just because they think I'm pro-Russia? That's it. It's because they think I'm pro-Russia. And then that's it. Like, even when I'm in the process of criticizing Russia, they're like, that's my fucking point, dumbass. What the fuck? I'm anti-Russia. I'm anti-Russia invading Ukraine. Part of that criticism also revolves around Russia's invasion beefing up nationalist movements, people that duked it out, Ukrainians that formerly would fight against the Azov Battalion style football hooligans and paramilitaries on the fucking streets, like anarchists, socialists in Ukraine, are now fighting side by side with the Azov Battalion. Why are they doing that? Because a much graver threat to their existence is the fucking Russian invasion. That's the point. This is so dumb. What is going on? Willie cooked you again? Yes, if you are the dumbest person on the planet and would rather not try to understand what my position is on anything whatsoever and run on like Hassan is bad, then yeah, he did. Yeah, for the dumbest people on the planet, that was another cooking session, which is kind of funny because I'm in the process of explaining to you what my position is, but you don't clearly give a shit. Yes, if you have one singular brain cell, yes, I got fucking owned here, okay? Yeah, this shit goes hard as hell if you're dumb as hell. I get it. Yeah, another example of what I described is and I have used this example as well, Chinese nationalists and communists working together to fight the Japanese invasion, fight against the Japanese fascists. Like, that's the whole point. Now I understand why so many people fucking think I'm, pro-Russia, because they're dumb as fuck. I genuinely thought that there was like at least some like real disagreements here. And I didn't realize that it was because people were just getting baited off of like clips that are not only devoid of context, but are, once again, claiming that I am in support of the exact thing that I'm against. I didn't realize it was just motherfuckers are stupid. Maybe I should have watched this video. Damn, now I feel bad. It can't be that every single person and their like supposedly valid criticisms and demands of accountability are coming from like personally them misunderstanding what my fucking position is on the matter. Oh my God. Bosch has the same take on Azov, but his community for some reason thinks you're pro-Russia. Yeah, because I'm anti-NATO and he's pro-NATO. That's why. That's why he couldn't bring any point while you were debating him, and he had to rewatch his video to try to find something because the video itself doesn't have any fucking valid points in it either.
Opinions. It makes no sense.
It's not, though, because the Azov Battalion in Ukraine is not the only Ukrainian armed group. There's no reason for them to exist. One, the state supports them existing, which is bad. Or two, they have too much power so that the state is too scared to get rid of them, which is also.
I think it's the second thing, but it's not even Azov Battalion anymore. I mean, they took the Azov Battalion and just like placed it firmly within the ranks of like the Ukrainian National Guard originally, and now they're just like a part of the regular armed forces. That's it. And inevitably, that is going to be a major problem for Ukraine. But obviously, that's neither here nor there. That's like completely inconsequential in this moment. Azov is now the 3rd Infantry Battalion. Yeah. Yeah, this is, what is this? This is the tweet. I mean, this is one of the instances. Denazifying Ukraine was Russia's ridiculous propaganda for invading Ukraine and occupying it. So why is it that when Israel makes this ridiculous claim, Westerners are so quick to believe it? You cannot eradicate Hamas by bombing Gaza. Oh, here it is. This is it. Oh, it's the same fucking take. Yeah. I said this day one of the invasion of Ukraine about the denazification narrative. Every time imperialist or irredentist power decides to encroach upon a smaller nation, the most right-wing nationalist elements are seen as emancipatory forces willing to do the violence necessary for liberation, a dangerous prospect for Ukraine stuck between the West and Russia. And it's true. Once again, being a leftist is about being right, but being too early. Okay? If you arrive at the correct position too early, people will yell at you over and over again. And even if they personally decide that, you know, your conclusions were correct and they finally arrive at that position, the hatred that they feel for you is so powerful that still remains. There's hella people right now out there who are like, damn, I actually do agree with, that maybe don't personally say they agree with my position on Palestine, but like they have arrived at that conclusion after a year of genocide. Okay. But because of how I made them feel early on, they still carry on that resentment. And the same thing always happens. The Gamba takes. I said early on, a crypto casino that created a fucking website with the explicit purpose of driving viewership and driving new audience members to their actual crypto casino was going to be devastating. Paired up with the reality that they are not going to hold on to any sort of like serious, rigid guidelines, no terms of service whatsoever, that was going to be a Nazi pedophile shithole. I was right. And many people in XQC's community at the time despised me for it. XQC despised me for it. I'm sure that former fans of XQC now agree with that position. However, their resentment towards me still carries on because I made them feel bad or their favorite content creator felt bad at the time. So now, even if they personally agree with that original position that I had, they don't go, you know what, maybe this guy was right. I'm going to be charitable to him, in the future. They just still continue fucking hating. It's weird, but I guess it's fine. You know, at the end of the day, as long as people are arriving at the correct conclusions, even if they're fucking late to the game, it's still fine, you know?
Bad. You don't need like a specific armed group for neo-Nazis. In Palestine, Hamas is the armed group. It's the only real armed resistance, aside from other armed groups that you also hate just as much. Ukraine is a country with a real military. Azov is but one unit. So what you do in that situation, if you really want to fight the Nazis, is you just forcibly disband that unit and you take the fighters from it and you distribute them through the rest of the military. Whereas, I don't know if you know this, but Palestine does not have a military. It's not allowed to have one. If Palestine had a military, we would not be having this discussion right now at all. Yeah, I mean, I've never seen anyone say that, like, Azov kills gays. They're probably homophobic, but has anyone ever said,
made the horrific decision to call Palestinians' culture inferior? Hassan rightfully called him out for this.
These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture, and it is directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for, and it is an inferior culture in all ways.
It's terrifying. Like, saying they're inferior, saying they're evil, to justify the death and destruction that befalls them is so horrifying.
Because remember, Hassan would never call another culture inferior. He would never do that.
I don't agree in theocracy at all.
But, like, wouldn't that mean that it would be inferior?
No, I wouldn't say that any culture is inferior to one another. All life must be cherished. Their lives are no different, even if they disagree fundamentally with you.
But if we just go back to last year, Hassan was justifying China's invasion of Tibet for the same reason. Their inferior culture. He says China's imperialism is good because they focus on taking over the
formerly enslaved Tibetan people working alongside the Maoist militias to liberate their own fucking non-autonomous region that has historically been on and off a part of the Chinese empire is not saying that the Tibetan culture is inferior. What the fuck are you talking about? What? Slavery and feudalism is not a fundamental part of Tibetan culture. Okay? That is precisely the fucking reason why it was actually the formerly enslaved Tibetans that fought against their slave masters in the process. Dude, what the fuck?
Their neighbors.
Chinese development and Chinese military action is either irredentist in nature, which is different than imperialist, where it's like it's more so expansive in its
This
own.
is him explaining concepts. Like, do you think Hassan thinks that irredentism is good? What? This guy sees an explanation, he takes it as an endorsement.
Limited area rather than global imperialism, which is
China's
done with the
always taken
express
more
effort
land.
with the
Tibet, Taiwan.
Tibet was literally a feudal slave.
Okay, for one, first thing, he was describing the difference between, say, for example, irredentism, which is
like China's actions in Tibet, the Chinese the Chinese Maoist movement in Tibet is not an instance of irredentism. Okay, what China is currently doing in Tibet, not developing it evenly as opposed to the rest of the Chinese territories, is understandably consequential, and there's much to criticize there. Okay, the current Chinese rulership over Tibet is not exactly great, but none of this is talking about liberating Tibet from the treacherous nature of feudalism. Okay. And the example I used here was actually so fucking good. Not to, hype myself up, but it is directly the same as like the American government during the time of slavery engaging in the fucking Civil War. And besides that, it's like if the Southern formerly enslaved people also rose up and actively fought against their slave masters.
Is like, my country has a right to take this state, this smaller country that is on our border or whatever, versus like American-style globe-spanning imperialism, where it's like, we want to essentially control as much as we reasonably can every single country in the world and force them to pursue our own interests. That was what he was talking about in the first place there, explaining the difference between like China and the US as global powers. He takes an explanation first as like an endorsement. So now let's see what the supposed calling Tibetan culture in.
Just threaten to beat them up like they always do. Just show them your massive muscles. What are they going to do? Just threaten to beat them up. And that's what you do when you can't come up with an argument, says Hasanabi tough guy. Dude, how little care or consideration do you have for your own humanity and your own personhood that you are literally making a fucking fake fan account called Hasanabi tough guy and then, creating the account, waiting for the appropriate amount of time so you can actually chat in the chat and then saying, these guys are all ugly nerds. Don't waste your time. It's about how attractive you are, like making yourself come across like you're actually a fan, but also letting it slip a little bit is such a wild thing to do, bro. This is what I think of you, just so you know. It's giving this. Go jerk off, dude. You're too horny. Exactly my point. Exactly. Keep going. Okay, dude. I'm going to ban you so that you can be happier and healthier person, I hope.
Syria was.
Feudal slave mandate, like
So
autonomous zone.
China did them a favor.
That was one. I mean, in America, when I say something like this, people get very upset. We talk about the Dalai Lama saying "suck my tongue" or whatever, but like that's not far from the norm in normal Tibetan existence before the Communist Party came in and
So China unilaterally took over Tibet,
like
these are their culture. They basically are trying to, homogenize the culture.
In the name of squashing an inferior culture, China killed over 87,000 Tibetans. That's 1.2 million, 1 out of every 6 Tibetans.
So let's talk about this comparison for a second here. I think it should be pretty self-evident. So as Mangold said, that Palestinians deserve to be genocided because they have an inferior culture, because genocide is literally baked into their laws. That's the quote that he said. For one, that's not true. And he explicitly said they have an inferior culture. Straight up. They deserve to be genocided because they have an inferior culture. And the justification that he came up with to justify this idea was that they have genocide baked into their laws. Now, if you can find the genocide law in Palestinian law, in the Palestinian, legal code, please bring it up for us. You're going to have trouble with that. Now, let us talk about Tibet.
I know Bad Empanada loves it when I step away from his videos.
What did Hassan say about Tibet? Tibet was a country that had slavery, serfdom. This was bad. when China invaded Tibet, it abolished slavery and serfdom. This was good. Do you think that slavery and serfdom are like protected cultural characteristics? Is that the argument that you're making here? Is that genuinely what you believe? So would you say that it was genocide when the North attacked the southern US and forced them to abolish slavery? Was that genocide, my friend? I would like to see your answer to that question. Now, perhaps slavery and serfdom was indeed the culture of someone in Tibet. You know, like a tiny, tiny economic and social elite. But it certainly was not Tibetan culture. Do you think that most people in Tibet owned slaves and had serfs? Obviously, such a system could not possibly exist. Such a system requires a minority to exercise control over a majority who are the slaves and the serfs themselves. So, you compared there someone making up bullshit to justify genocide with someone invoking something that actually really did exist and that really was abolished as a result of the Chinese invasion, which was literal fucking slavery, like a socioeconomic system of oppression. Like the whole video is comparing things that aren't the same and insisting they're the same, apparently. I do not give a shit about preserving the culture of like a tiny slave-owning elite anywhere in the world. Do you? I would hope not. I would hope that you can see the difference in feudal lords in Tibet owning slaves and Asmongold saying that Palestinians believe that in genocide, so they deserve to be genocided. Something which is not true. Asmongold outright said that, you know, Palestinian culture, all Palestinians are inferior. I do not think that saying that slavery is bad and it's good that it was abolished is the same thing as that. This is, by the way, this is the third.
That's crazy, by the way. Like, slavery is not someone's culture, man. What the fuck? Like, what are we talking about? The Tibet take is unacceptable. You can't ignore the forced Hanification of the Tibetan people, same as Xinjiang. Hundreds of thousands of people were forcibly displaced. Tibetans have a right to self-determination. British also used the caste in India as a justification for the empire. No, you're misunderstanding my position. Okay? The original, you're not wrong about Hanification. I have never said that Hanification, just like Russification, was a major L for the USSR. Hanification is on principle a unacceptable thing that the Chinese government does. Okay? This is correct. Your take on that is correct. I agree with you. This is not my position. Okay? I don't agree with that at all. And I think that that is part of the ongoing issue. Also, it's hilarious that you said Tibetans have the right to self-determination. British also use the caste as India in its justification for the empire. The British literally utilized the caste system and kicked it into high gear. And I know you know this because you yourself are one of my anti-China Indian chatters. I know you know that. Okay? But yes, I don't agree with the Hanification of Tibet, nor do I agree with the Hanification of Xinjiang. Okay? Oh, this is a very smart chatter, okay? He's just, you know, it's a healthy disagreement that we have in terms of, I guess, like maybe misunderstanding my position on China. British used the caste to also justify their empire. They are liberalizing us. They also used caste at the same time. Yeah, that they are liberalizing us. No, I understand. In terms of the initial movement in Tibet, how do you justify utilizing like actual existing Tibetan groups as armed militias that rose up against slavery? Like, that is not a embedded part of Tibetan culture. I disagree with that. The continued Hanification is unacceptable. These two things can be true at the same time, and they are true. If you are comparing the original abolition of the serfdom in Tibet to what, you know, the British Empire did in India, you're wrong. Would you apply this to slaveholding indigenous Americans vis-a-vis the colonization of America? No. Okay? I would, however, use a much better example, which is the one I used in that conversation with Ethan, which is that what China did in that circumstance was not dissimilar to the Civil War, I guess. Yeah, black soldiers in the Union during the Civil War. What way does China do Hanification and China create autonomous zones that sustain the teaching of Tibetan language and culture aside from religious areas? Come on, dude. Like, this is a thing that China does all the time. It's a way to basically control what aspect of the culture is presented. It's the same thing in Xinjiang as well. It's the effectively neuter, and the justification they use for it is that they don't want any separatist movements to grow as a consequence of that. But I think it's still it's still brutal.
The very first thing off Google.
I don't understand how you could be pro-Palestine and then support Russia and China. Israel's neighbors with Gaza. Does that make what they're doing okay? No, of course not.
Do you think it's okay? Have you ever made a video denouncing it? It seems like instead of actually denouncing it, you just attack people who are against it. I wonder why that is. I wonder why you are so extremely laser focused on that. It's almost like you support the genocide and you're too fucking cowardly to say so.
No, of course not. His politics makes no sense. It's constant.
Let's be fair to you. I don't think anything will make sense to you. You're too fucking dumb to understand anything. Let's just be real about that point first. Like, of course it doesn't make sense to you. You think that, like, abolishing slavery...
Yeah, I mean, look, just because something is wrong doesn't mean all wrong things are the same. If Palestine looked anything like Xinjiang, the person responsible for it would get Nobel Peace Prizes for 100 years is a correct take, but that still doesn't mean that I agree with what China did in Xinjiang. China did not civilize Tibet. I'm not using this as a civilizing of Tibet as an argument or a narrative. In 1829, the British passed the Sati Regulation Act in India, which banned the Hindu practice of a widow burning herself alive after her husband died. They utilized this act alongside other legislation passed to justify that they were civilizing India and subjugating all of it until 1947. How is that different than China coming in to civilize Tibet? What's different is that England, the British Empire, and India have a very different dynamic than China and Tibet. The former Chinese empires have always considered Tibet, like, and Tibetan leadership that engaged in the act of slavery and serfdom to be perfectly valid as long as they were autonomously a part of China, of the broader Chinese empire. If you make this comparison to what the British Empire's interests were in India, I don't know how to retort that. It is entirely separate. Slavery is not a part of a group's culture, okay? This is precisely the reason why. The continued Chinese-Tibetan existence is very different than, I think, like what we were talking about originally. Unless you personally think that China invaded Tibet and, you know, and basically decided, like, we're going to use slavery as a justification to kill a bunch of Tibetans, even though the army was directly fighting alongside the Tibetans. And it was an early movement that was initially comprised of Tibetans. I don't know if you know this, but people don't like being enslaved and being relegated to not even a caste system, but just like straight up brutal fucking practices enforced by the Dalai Lama. Yes, this whole debate, funnily enough, always neglects the existence of Tibetan communist revolutionaries who also fought tooth and nail against feudalism and slavery. Phuntsok Wangyal is a major figure in the progressive Tibetan history. The issue was joined in 1956 to 57 when armed Tibetan bands ambushed convoys of the Chinese People's Liberation Army. The uprising received extensive assistance from the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, including military training support camps in Nepal and numerous airlifts. It's kind of funny that people talk about the Tibet thing, by the way, because America gave up on it. Like, America initially was like, oh, we can use Tibet as a way to hit China. Like, this is pretty common. It's textbook CIA shit. They were like, oh, we'll get the Dalai Lama, we'll pay him, which they did, right, regularly, and hang that over the head of like have that as a means of creating popular resistance. And there are always going to be plenty of people for real justifiable reasons that are against Chinese governance. Okay. And then outside of that, there are always going to be people that are directly being funded by the CIA because they want to reinstate the former way of business in Tibet. But even America was like, yeah, we should give up on this. So we are now talking about a right-wing movement that the CIA tried to beef up that even they gave up on.
Is an attack on culture. You think that abolishing slavery is genocide. So yeah, I'd say you're quite confused here. And I think basically anything would confuse you.
Contradicting himself. But
what? Like, it's easy for us to say Tibet slavery wasn't a part of their culture, but then you have slave-owning states literally saying slavery is part of their culture in their effort to justify it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay? It's like saying that the Israeli culture revolves around the maintenance of an apartheid. That doesn't mean that, like, you can nuke Israel, okay? I don't agree with that. And I think that would be fucking insanely cruel and inhumane. I don't even agree with like the forcible displacement of 750,000 people. Like, what are we talking about? I'm too much of a pussy on that front even. They literally kidnapped the Panchen Lama so that there will not be another Dalai Lama in Tibet. They also have appointed their own Panchen Lama who I believe is Han Chinese. The Hanification of Tibet is real, yes. I think, wait, no, I thought he was Mongolian. Maybe I'm wrong.
But then you realize that he's America bad all the time. That's it.
Let me explain to you 2 principles that you should keep with you, coming from a person who's Turkish, okay? When you look at a situation in the Middle East, you look at what the local government is and who the Western forces are. Never align with the Western forces. That's a principle that you could take home with you if you want to actually be moral or if you want to be smart about...
Notice how he can't actually explain to us how this is wrong? Oh, you just say America bad, America bad. Why do you, for one, why do you talk like a 12-year-old? Why are we not able to actually engage with what is being said and just show clips? Why? You haven't responded to fucking anything this whole video. You just show clips. Again, Hassan, copyright strike this guy. Copyright strike him, please. If he contests it, take him to court, and then YouTube has to abide by whatever the court says. And I think there's a pretty good chance that the court would say that this does not constitute legitimate fair use because he's not actually making any criticism of what he's saying. He's just saying, here's what he said and showing clips of it. That is not transformative criticism. It's just like a rage compilation.
The way you analyze other countries, that's one basic principle that you can take home with you.
This is the sort of slop content that should be banned under YouTube term and service. It should not be, people should not be allowed to make money off just showing clips of other people and not adding anything to them.
All of a sudden,
people like this should be working in McDonald's, working in the mines, not making tons of money off this shit.
Magically, you are above on your foreign policy analysis. You're going to be better off than 90% of people that look at the situation.
That's not what an analysis is. That's doing the same thing Sneeko does. And Hassan's always...
Why can you actually respond to him?
Been this way. He doesn't care.
Wait, why doesn't he? You know what? Bad Empanada raises a good point. Why doesn't he ever actually counter anything I'm saying? It's kind of weird. This is like, how many? This is 8 minutes and 47 seconds in, and there's not a single fucking talking point that he has addressed. He just misunderstands things that I'm saying, assumes that I am, adopting a position that I'm not, oftentimes the exact opposite position that I hold, like with Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And there's not even a single instance where he just like actually has like a valid counterpoint. If you watched this video and you knew the breadth of my perspective on any number of these different issues, you'd be like, I don't understand what the fuck's going on here. If you, on the other hand, watch this and you were like, yeah, I don't really know about this Hassan guy, I kind of don't understand it, maybe you would be like geared towards hating me, I guess. Not trolling, but I don't get the Tibet stance. If you're against imperialism, should be against Chinese imperialism. Okay, we'll get back to the Tibet issue in a little bit. Okay, please. I have to move on. The answer is a deorbiter. He has no positions. That's what's so beautiful about this. He can operate as though he's like completely separate from Destiny, even though very clearly he's just like rehashing whatever fucking thing that he saw on the Destiny subreddit.
About principles or being morally consistent.
Do I think that this could be a dangerous precedent? Absolutely. But the right has been doing this for a very long time.
Yeah, but
they've
they're
been
wrong.
able to.
That's the point. The point is they're wrong, and I hate them, and I hate their tactics.
But no one cares about being morally consistent, or no one cares about.
I do. I care about that.
I know
very
you
much.
do, but in the end of the day,
he just wants his side to win at all costs. It's tournament.
Wait, what? That's a debate with Kyle Kalinske about free speech absolutism. And I don't even remember what I'm actually, like, you can see it. You can see it says free speech absolutism. That clip is like 6 years fucking old. I don't even remember what the position that we're talking about. That is so devoid of context. I don't even know what the fuck he's trying to say here. What?
Well, yeah, because his side is actually, a side that actually wants good things, and the Republicans want to institute, like, bad things. I think that's probably why he's saying that. Right? It's fucking obvious, right? You'd be sitting there abiding by your principles as Hitler puts you in a camp. Well, no, he wouldn't put you in a camp. You'd be by his side. But you know what I mean. Like, playing by your morals and principles, while people who don't...
You are literally explaining that people tend to care more about a narrative than the actual truth, which is literally what this loser is taking advantage of right now. Yeah, I don't even know... I think that was just like a regular conversation about like the tolerance, the way that like liberals utilize the tolerance paradox the way that Nazis utilize the liberals' tolerance paradox to just, push for a whole bunch of intolerant positions and normalize them. Ironically, that's what he is doing here as well to a certain degree. He's utilizing like liberals' tendencies to be like, well, there's certain positions that I take as truth. There are so many anti-Assad videos like this. They have their own lore and their own shorthand. A video can just be 100% dog whistling the Reddit post and get 1 million views. Yeah, I know. It's fucking nuts. It's kind of crazy because like he's clip chimping shit from like 6 fucking years ago. So much so that like I don't even know exactly what he's talking about here. Like I've lost the plot on my own fucking commentary. I don't even know what he's disingenuously framing.
Play by them, work to like destroy you. It's probably not a good idea.
Running straight up terrorist propaganda for the past 10 months.
Mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia. I'll be making fucking dough.
This segment, wait, if this segment is like entirely about Rashid, made 5 days ago, this is months after like all of the facts regarding what he actually is, his relation to the Houthis and stuff like that were established. Let's see what he says. Let's see if he digs himself a hole that could possibly result in a big, nice payment for our friend in Yemen.
In the pizzeria.
Assad has been rewriting history when it comes to the Houthi terrorists he did propaganda for. Now he's just...
What makes them terrorists? You never explained to us what terrorism is and why you think they're terrorists.
Some random teenager.
Random fucking Yemeni teenager. The Yemeni kid not connected to the Houthis. And
he is a 19-year-old Yemeni teenager, not from the Houthi tribe, nor from the Houthi organization.
Even
this
matter
has been
if he was?
established for months at this point. For months.
Not only does it not matter to me if he was or not, it would obviously change the dynamic of the interview if he was. Most people don't know that he isn't a Houthi or have seen his post about respecting Jews. I don't really care. They will just say, oh, he's doing PR.
These are all provable lies. When Hassan initially interviewed the Houthi, it was framed as him being a terrorist.
Bro, are we about to have a Houthi rebel on stream? Yes, brother. What do you mean?
It was framed as him thinking that. And then he was corrected in the middle of the interview when the guy was like, no, actually, I'm just a random guy who...
Yeah. Like that's... Why do people just not watch the original content ever? It's not like this shit is... It's not like this shit is not like readily available, man. I don't get it. People would much rather just watch like something completely fucking clipped out of context instead of just being like...
Uploaded TikToks.
Excuse me. Of course I'm about to have a... I'm a journalist, okay? This is journalism.
When Hassan asked if he was Houthi, the guy did not answer, instead referring to the Houthis' justification for pirating commercial ships.
Wait, he did. That's just a lie. He straight up did. And not only did he do that, but every single real news outlet that has covered it since then, even fucking Fox News, openly recognizes that he is not a part of the Ansar Allah movement, nor is he a fucking militant. At most, they say he is pro the Houthi government.
I don't know if he is allowed to speak on this. I don't know if he's like actually a part of the groups at all, or just like simply
he said no, he doesn't actually know. He said this is just contradicting the clip that you just showed because he didn't actually know.
TikToker, you know?
Like you shouldn't show clips that just contradict what you just tried to imply.
You know what I mean? I don't know how to ask that in the best way possible, though.
Yeah, I feel like we can ask it pretty directly. His answer is he's a Yemeni who stands with Palestine.
Hassan will go on to greenlight the
He's a Yemeni who stands with Palestine, so he did not say that he is a member of the organization or anything. That's your proof that he is? I think we should at least ask a decent defamation lawyer about this.
His mission of attacking civilian commercial ships on behalf of him and his entire chat.
We think
attacking civilian. Look at his fucking face there. That is like wow. That was incredible. Did you see him?
We think
Where is it? I feel like we can ask
his mission of attacking civilian commercial.
Look at like the fake outrage face.
Ships on behalf of him and his entire.
Like the fake outrage face, the fake gestures. The no chin. Like he's the guy from the comic strip, and it's like, where the fuck is your chin? That's this guy.
Chat.
We think the Houthis, Ansar Allah, is doing what Luffy would do. You should tell him that.
The whole point of this interview was to make this Houthi soldier seem related.
You know how this guy, he does not see any reason to argue, not just why this guy's a terrorist. He does not see any reason.
Dude, this is like so much of the shit that I rail against, just packaged, sandwiched into one like 35-minute video. Oh my God, it's everything that I fucking despise. Remember how I always talk about Ben Shapiro? Ben Shapiro is a smart propagandist. He is an evil person in general. Okay, his worldview is awful. But he's much smarter than, like, I don't know, the average right-winger who will openly say the quiet part out loud. Okay? How does he do this? He does this by... by basically pointing to all of the pre-existing oppressive constructs and says, this is common sense and it's good and we should do more of it. Okay? That's what he does. And that's precisely the reason why this fucking idiot doesn't have to have any sort of tangible positions on Israel, on Yemen, on Palestine, nothing at all. He could just simply go, that's a terrorist. Hassan loves terrorists. And that's it. No explanation of what terrorism is. No explanation of what these movements are, how they actually evolved into what they are now, how they gained prominence or power, okay? What their goals are. And people will just eat it up. And they'll go, wow, I can't believe this guy that's trying to offer context to all this stuff is actually also bad. He's evil. He's bad and evil. I've already been primed into thinking that everyone here is bad and evil if they are outside of the orbit of American influence. From what I can recall from the interview, the kid was also forgiving towards Emirati Saudi people's desire, their government intervention in Yemen. From my perspective, he seemed like a kid who wanted Sunni Shia and honestly just global unity to oppose Israeli crimes. Yeah, I mean, that's I think, as far as I understand, that's like the most common, that's the most common Yemeni position now. But yeah, I think, like, ironically enough, none of this actually even touches on the actual ideologies, the actual history, anything whatsoever. It's just packaged in a way to attack the person speaking. Okay? If you just say, lol, this guy actually is disingenuous because I clipped him out of context over and over again, and claimed that he was arguing for certain things when he was arguing against those things, okay, then, you know, I can just say he's disingenuous and stupid, and people who also are not very knowledgeable on these issues will then just go along with it. Like, there is not a single argument that he has made in any of this. The only argument is basically just him saying Hassan is disingenuous and inconsistent, which is one, I think, of the funniest things you could say about me, because literally you can go back basically fucking 10 years and you will see me advocating for the exact same things back then. Like, that's, I don't know how to get this through people's heads. Like,
reason to argue why it is wrong to blockade ships from.
Damn, this guy's good.